Good morning. Welcome to Real Talk with Lisa Wilson,
Tiffany Cofield,
where we speak fluent sarcasm. I don't know how sarcastic I'll be today, but usually I throw something in there because it's just me. But we have focused this month on first-time sellers. Since there's always been a huge focus on buyers, we thought maybe the sellers would enjoy some tips and maybe it would spark some inspiration in their mind if they're even thinking of selling now or in the future. It's a little bit wonky market right now, but there's still no reason why you can't sell your home and get top dollar for it. So we've covered listing price, how we come up with the listing price. We've talked about staging, AI, artificial intelligence, and even open houses. And today we want to talk a bit about renovations, curb appeal, and even HOAs. Even though as a seller, your house is where it is. You're not going to change that. So maybe it has an HOA, maybe it doesn't. But just a couple quick notes about HOAs. Making changes to your home for your own enjoyment is one thing. You live in it, you want to be comfortable, you want to feel home. But spending your hard-earned money on changes to make somebody else happy, a future homeowner, maybe a hard pill to swallow. Maybe you don't want to, you got fish hooks in your pockets and you just don't want to let go of that dollar.
Yeah.
But the right type of changes can truly help get you more money for your home and sell it much faster for more money. Bottom line. So let's talk about paint. Seems like an obvious go-to update for most homeowners. So you like orange, you like pink, you like green. But we are here to tell you when a buyer walks into a home and they see orange, blue, brown, greens, even blacks and darker colors, that is the first thing they see and the first thing they talk about is the paint. Oh, I'm going to have to paint. So what if you take that off the table and you switch to a more neutral color? I'm not talking boring blah, putrid tans and,
or stark white.
Or stark white. It doesn't have to be that. There was a term that came out a few years ago called greige. It's a blend of neutral tones, beiges and grays. And they're still pretty popular. They also make a great base if somebody does want to go in there and change the paint color again once they purchase the home. But it also does something else. It brightens a home. It takes the focus off any imperfections in the home. And against white trim, it is a stunning look. So fresh, clean, just makes the house look really nice.
I feel like, too, you can take in the whole space rather than
Yes.
focusing on whatever that color is that you don't like.
Yeah, because we see accent walls, we see all those chevrons, and we see all sorts of different things, and that may be fine. But the bottom line is a buyer can't see past those things.
Right.
They walk in and they're just blinded by that focal point or those bright colors or different colors, and they may be beautiful and you may love them, and that's perfect. That's what you want. But when buyers walk through, that's not what you want them to see. So think about a 5-gallon bucket of paint. If you went to the hardware store, you went to Lowe's or Ace Hardware or Coltrane Hardware, wherever you go to get paint. So the bucket of paint may cost you a couple $100s, and I'm just guessing. Don't chastise me if I don't know the exact price of 5 gallons of paint. It's been a while since we painted this. But that $200 investment can net you a significant amount of money that it might not have with burgundy or deep blue walls. And it's going to get your home noticed by more buyers, especially in photos, because that's what they're looking at. They're online. 96% of the people are looking online for a home when they start their home search. So if you see a house that looks dull and dark and like grandma lived there.
Or Dracula.
So it's going to attract more buyers. So pull the nails, fill the holes, and get painting. Landscaping is the next thing you can do. Cut the grass, trim the shrubs, clean the sidewalk edges, put out some bright flowers. Outside curb appeal is the first impression that that buyer has when they pull up to your house. Hardware. Maybe your kitchen hardware is a little bit outdated. We have so many options online now for shopping. I mean, I've been on Amazon, yes, I said it, and bought hardware for my kitchen to change it out. It's the second time since we own the home, and I think it's been 7 or 8 years or 10 years, or I don't know, whatever. But it was a little less expensive, and we have a lot of drawer pulls that we needed. So you can find some inexpensive options that will really spruce up your kitchen and bring it a little more up to date. What else? Lighting and ceiling fans. Oh God. I know you're not an electrician. Most of you aren't. 99.9% of you aren't. But think of it this way. If you're a buyer and you're walking into a home and you see one of those sad ceiling fans, you know the ones. You've all seen them. They've got the blades that kind of go, they're just very sad. Sagging fan blades, not a good thing. You don't want anything sagging. What would you think? The owner didn't care about the house. They didn't take care of the house. There goes a potential buyer. An $150 ceiling fan could have fixed that problem, and they might have stuck around and had a different feeling about the house. You know, we have access to a lot of vendors. We know electricians, so if you do need to change out some fixtures, give us a call. We'll give you some names and numbers, and you can call them, check them out, and maybe get your ceiling fans and lighting fixtures updated. Another one, and we talked about this last week or the week before in a social media post. We talked about the front door.
Yes.
A black front door can bring you more money.
Yes.
If you're selling your house. And it was crazy. I think it was $600 by painting your front door black. So you need a quart of paint. How much is a quart of paint? And you just made $600 more. That doesn't mean that you have to paint the front door black. But a nice, fresh front door. Clean, freshly painted. Maybe you pick a fall color, maybe a russet color, and you put out some fall flowers, some mums on either side of the door. That's really going to pop to a potential buyer when they're walking up to the house. So little things like that can make a big difference, and they shouldn't take too much time. I mean, a 2,500 square foot house, of course, if you're going to repaint the whole thing, it's going to take time and money, but you know, you have to weigh the options, and that's what we're here for too, to just bounce ideas off of. And lastly today, let's talk about HOAs. Maybe your house is in an HOA and you hear pushback about nobody wants to live in an HOA. Well, there are some good things about an HOA. They can provide amenities. Maybe there's a pool, a tennis court. We have a few here in our market that have tennis courts and community pool and workout rooms, fitness rooms, playgrounds, things like that. Those are all appealing if that's something that somebody's looking for. HOA rules also prevent properties from becoming neglected because the homeowners know that they have to keep the grass cut, and you know there's certain guidelines with those HOAs. And they also can encourage involvement and may help you get to know your neighbors a little bit better, because what if you do have a problem? Don't you want to have somebody that you can rely on to help you out in an emergency? It sure beats the whole Hatfield and McCoy thing with neighbors. You want to at least like one of your neighbors. You want them to like you. Doesn't mean they have to be like, you know, all the time. Yeah, you don't have to be besties, but I mean, mutual respect would be good. So an HOA can help encourage that as well. The bad things. So things can pop up in an HOA, in a subdivision or an area with an HOA, which could require an assessment to be attached to your HOA. So what's an assessment? So maybe the sidewalks are in disrepair, and the HOA is responsible for the repair of those sidewalks. They would get quotes, they would hire someone to do the job, and the cost would be deferred equally amongst the homeowners in that neighborhood in the form of an assessment, and it's for a very specific amount of time. So this can potentially raise your HOA fee for a period. HOAs can restrict what you can do with the home. Maybe certain trees aren't allowed or fences. Maybe you want to use it as an Airbnb, but they don't allow it. So there are some restrictions, about what you can do with the house as well. And as we've seen locally, it's made national news. They can foreclose on your house if you don't pay the HOA dues. It's a last resort, but it does happen. So you just have to weigh the pros and cons of those HOAs. And the last thing I think I would say about HOAs is, sometimes you run into a poorly run or managed HOA. It happens. We've seen them. But it's still important that you, as someone living in a community with an HOA, go to the meetings. You want to do everything you can to make it better. So selling your first home is really a time to step up your game. Decide just how much you want to do and what you're willing to do to get your home sold. It's going to take time. It's going to take money. It's going to take energy. But at the same time, the money, the energy, and the time will result in a better return than you could ever imagine. And, I used to tell my kids when they were younger, make it fun. Make a game out of it. Make a list. Break it down. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Just go at it in little bits and don't think you have to do it all at once. If you need to bounce any ideas off us, we would love to help you with that. If you want us to take a look at your home and give you some ideas for inexpensive updates that you can make to net a higher return on the investment that you have in your home, that's what we're here for. You can call us at 866-9-OFF-ROAD. And while you're out today, it is gorgeous.
It's finally fall.
I know. Don't forget, beep at the Jeep.